we've had conversations like this offline where you compare yourself to some like the Cleopatras of the world and so forth.
I do believe that there are a string of women historically who possess power, and a lot of times that power is distributed through sexual prowess, but it is never the end of the story. You know, that's just kind of a piece of it. So yeah.
You mentioned recently, I think you said you can't slut shame me.
You can't slut shame me.
Right. And Amber Rose was doing something similar also.
Really?
Yeah, she was organizing a slut walk.
Yeah. You know,
what does that mean, slut shaming?
what slut shaming is when society shames a woman for the amount of sex she either is or isn't having, depending on what the truth is. But yet that doesn't happen to men, right?
Right.
So
they're celebrated.
Yeah, men are celebrated for their sexual conquests,
Right.
while women are denigrated for their sexual conquests. I don't subscribe to that shit. Like, I can, to be very blunt and very crass and pedestrian right now, I can fuck who I want, when I want, how I want, as many times as I want, where I want, whenever. It doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want. Whatever makes me happy, I can do that. If it makes me happy, then it makes me fucking happy, and that's it. Right. I'm 36 years old. Okay, so you're not talking to a little girl. And then I think people still think I'm 20 something. So they talk to me like I'm 20 something. As I've gotten older, I have become more aware of my sexuality and how to use it, how not to use it, understanding that sex is a power, and that, like any power, it is actually more powerful when harnessed. I've learned that. But if I wanted to have sex with whoever, whenever, however, I don't deserve to be judged for that, especially not by such a ruined society. You know, judgment from other sinners is invalid. So especially, I mean, listen, if God wants to come down and tell me I'm doing something horrible, cool, got it. I'm down for that.
Right.
But another sinner doesn't get to tell me whether my sin is too sinful. Like, you don't get to do that. I don't care what it is. And when I'm having sex with a man, he's having sex with me. We're having the same fucking sex. So why am I the dirty person here? And then I realized something very powerful. If I'm seen with my local postman and he's my guy, no one's mad at that. If I'm seen, as I have been seen with Wayne or someone else, look at this whore. I'm only a whore when I'm with this guy. I'm not a whore when I'm with this guy. So your feeling isn't about me. It's about this guy.
Interesting.
Because if you saw me with somebody you never knew, I've dated regular people. I've been married to regular people. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But if I'm seen with someone who someone else thinks is famous, who someone else thinks is somebody special, then I'm groupies and whores and sluts. And why can't I be a slut with the postman? Maybe I'm totally slutty for this postman. But you don't care about that because you don't see him that way. You see this guy as garbage. Therefore, if I'm with him, I too instantly become trash. If I have sex with you and now I'm trash, but I wasn't trash before, the only thing that changed is that I had sex with you. Therefore, you sullied me. Therefore, your issue is with you and not with me.
Right.
And that brings it all home for me. A woman is judged by the man she's with a lot more times than how many men she's with. Because if I had sex with 20 regular nobodies and school teachers and firemen that you don't care, you wouldn't care. But it's the type of man that I'm with. And you feel a certain way about them. you actually think less of them, so that any woman that they're with has to be less.
How do you feel about the Superhead name that's kind of followed you around for all these years?
I didn't make it up.
Who made it up?
Nobody made it up. It was in a Jadakiss song.
Right. I know a chick named Superhead. She gave Superhead.
Shout out to Jadakiss, who calls me Superbread. Love him.
Even gave the Superhead.
Right. It was a lyric. I didn't know Jadakiss at the time. I met Jadakiss years later. Right. I think I met Kiss in 2000, who knows, 8 or something. Right. Mm-hmm. And we had that conversation, and I was like, "Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot."
Well, how did that lyric get connected to you?
Well, because I'm good at everything I do. So let's be super honest here, and I'm going to be really frank and a little uncouth. I'm not going to suck a dick unless I'm going to do it great. I'm not going to write a book unless I'm going to do it great. I'm not going to cook a meal unless I'm going to do it. I'm not going to touch anything unless I plan on doing it better than anyone else you've ever met in your entire life.
Right.
That's how I like to do things. That's the energy I put forth in everything.
Right.
I'm not one of those girls who's going to look at it and be like, I don't want it. Because then you get lazy blowjobs. Don't nobody want no lazy blowjob. No man, no woman wants lazy head either. The worst thing is for a man to be down there and he's just like, don't touch it. Get away from it. Because you'll end up frustrating me. And I'd rather be super at it than mediocre. I don't, when a woman isn't good in bed, you're going to shame her. But then when she's good in bed, you're going to shame her. Make up your fucking mind. If I was terrible at it, you'd be like, oh my God, that bitch can't suck a dick for shit. That fucking bitch, she just laid there like a cold fish and I had to do all the work. And that's how the rhetoric goes. Mm-hmm. But then when a woman's good at it, you're upset. And the reason why you're upset is because you have to think to yourself, how did she get so good at it?
Right.
She's had practice. That means she's had other penises. That means she can judge my penis based on the other penises. Oh my God, what if my penis is too small? These things go through men's head all the time. Men ask about other men's penises all the time. Well, how big was... Men ask about other men's penises more than women.
So you're saying that guys you dated would ask about Wayne's penis.
Of course. People still ask me about Wayne's penis. People ask penis questions all the time. Other men want to know what other men are built like. Because that's your biggest insecurity. You have 2 insecurities, your money and your dick. Those are your 2 insecurities. And if you don't have enough of either, you feel inadequate. And so the more experience a woman has, the more she's able to judge your penis. And if a woman has seen 5 penises, she can look at yours and say, that's a medium penis. If a woman has only had 1 penis, she's going to look at your little dick and say, oh my God, that's so huge, because she's never seen a penis in her whole life. This is why men want virgins. Because then we can't look at your little dick and say, that shit is small,
you think that's the reason?
That's part of the reason.
Interesting.
Because if a woman starts having sex and she has been sexually liberated and she has done her sexual due diligence before settling down, because the thing about marriage is this, and I'll tell you from personal experience, I've married a man with a very small penis. For me, that's grounds for divorce. You could be the best person in the world, and but we could just be friends if that's the case. I'm not going to marry and be with for the rest of my life or for a big chunk of my life with a man who will not sexually satisfy me. I deserve to be sexually satisfied. Women deserve to be sexually satisfied. I deserve multiple orgasms. I deserve that shit. And I deserve for my husband or my mate to give me that. So when a woman has had a lot of experience, she has a larger grading curve. So I can tell you in a second how you measure up. And men don't like that. That's the thing about slut shaming, is that you want a woman with experience, because no man really wants a woman without, unless he too has no experience. But an experienced man would like to have a woman who knows her way around, so that he's not having to teach her stuff and, no, your teeth, ow, oh, you don't want to go through all that.
Right.
You want to be pleasured. We're adults. We have adult sex. We want to be pleasured. But then the issue is, Yes, I want a woman who understands how to not bite my penis when she's sucking it. However, how did she learn how to suck other penises? And then this thing starts happening in your head. And so if you shame a woman for doing her sexual due diligence, if you shame a woman for doing her sexual research, then you make her feel bad for doing something, for gaining knowledge. I believe every woman should go into every situation knowing what her options are, sexually and otherwise. You have to know what's out there. Now, it may not take 45 people to get that done. You might be able to do that in 2 or 3 people, but do a little research on personalities, finances, penises, and just men in general, all very different. So that way, when you settle down, your husband knows she's with me because I'm the best. I've got the best penis. I've got the best attitude. She likes mine better than everyone else's. It's not about who's first. It's
Gotcha.
about who's last.